My name is Robert Popwell, and I'm running for re-election as Grievers Chairman with the 1066 Coalition.
And I'm Ryan Komenakis, Grievers Section 4 and Secretary of the Grievance Committee.
And I'm Dan Hudak, Grievers Section 7, and I'm also running for Vice President with the 1066 Coalition.
Unfortunately, other candidates have decided to use current negotiations with the company as a political tool and have littered the plant with misinformation regarding MOAs we are currently negotiating.
Therefore, we've decided as union officials it's our obligation to set the record straight, and that's what we're going to do in this video.
First, we're going to explain how these MOAs came about and how we got to where we are today. Then we will read the original MOAs we were asked to agree to, and we'll explain the MOAs as they currently stand with the changes that were made because of the input the majority of your grievance committee added to the discussion.
Back in February, our current president and contracting out chairman met with the company, as they do every month, and had a discussion on contracting out items along with potentially putting up postings for the 10 mill maintenance members. Afterwards, Mark and I met with the company, who said they had come up with some language pertaining to these topics at hand and send them over for us to review. Upon receiving the company's original versions of these MOAs, there were multiple discussions trying to improve the language for our members with Mark, Labor Relations, and myself. After some time, I still had issues with what the company and Mark wanted me to approve of, which I wouldn't the way they were written. Mark then called for a meeting with the Grievance Committee to explain to the Grievers his positions as why MOAs should be agreed upon as is.
When we met up for this discussion, our current president stated that these were great MOAs that he negotiated with the company, but wanted to explain to us Grievers clearly because he did not want them to be misunderstood and put on the floor for political gain.
After listening to our current president explain the agreements in his own words, Roger Glisk, the current Section 1 Griever, spoke up and asked if we could all read the agreements directly, as none of us were comfortable with the paraphrased version we were getting verbally. Each of us were given about 2 minutes to read each agreement and then ask what we thought. Memorandums of agreement are basically amended contract language that we will be stuck with to the end of that agreement. And these MOAs specifically touch not only the 10 mill maintenance, but all of maintenance in the entire local. This kind of agreement should not be decided on in the little window we were given. Physical copies should have been given to each member of the committee with a lot more time to make well-educated and informed decisions on whether or not these MOAs presented should be approved or amended. In my opinion, this shows a lack of respect for the Grievance Committee as a whole, but more so the entire membership.
At that time, the majority of the committee spoke up with the issues we found in such a short time. The current president said he'd take some of those things into consideration and have the agreements amended. So for the next 48 hours, most of us in the committee repeatedly read over and analyzed the agreements as we should, thinking about what could be used against our members, what should be included, what should be taken out, how our members could be negatively affected by them, and how our members could be positively affected with the appropriate corrections and omissions.
A few days after the meeting, Mark handed me updated copies of the MOAs, which had very few changes. At this time, I again informed Mark of multiple issues that I felt did not pertain to the MOAs and asked why they were still in there, along with me contacting Labor Relations with the same concerns. Mark, as well as Labor Relations, told me they were good agreements and that I needed to sign them, and had my concerns simply brushed away. This continued on for the next few weeks without changes. Mark and Labor Relations have repeatedly stated that the intent of these agreements was to find permanent homes for maintenance technicians and production workers still incumbent to the 10 division. Per Mark, this is in exchange for giving up the commitment analysis language that states every 40 hours of contracted out maintenance work, one member would be hired.
Our current president is trying to sell this as a way to save 10 mill maintenance without telling you what is being given away, or what could potentially negatively affect our members in the future.
Now we are going to read these original agreements to you, and while doing so, we will explain what has changed thus far. So the first MOA we want to discuss is the Local Union 1066 regarding the Grievance Committee. This memorandum of agreement is between U.S. Steel Gary Works and the United Steelworkers Local 1066. Jointly, the parties agree. Paragraph 1, the company and the union agree the number of union members of the grievance committee at the Gary Sheet and Tin plant as established under the provisions of Article 5, Section I, 5 of the 2022 BLA shall not exceed 7 members, including the grievance chairman. The union will provide the company with areas of representation. This agreement will take effect when the Gary Tin seniority unit reaches less than 15 incumbents. Paragraph 2. This agreement supersedes any prior agreements regarding the composition of the union grievance committee. Each of the undersigned declare that they have read and understand this agreement and has signed with the full knowledge of the nature and consequences thereof.
At this point in time, the grievance committee takes no issue with this and would like to have it applied when all 10 mill employees have dispersed that division.
This next MOA is regarding breaker maintenance. The parties have met and discussed the use of outside entities performing breaker maintenance at the Gary Sheet and Tin plant. Consistent with this, the parties hereby agree to the following. Paragraph 1. The parties agree the bargaining unit is not currently capable in terms of skill and ability of performing breaker maintenance work, and such work is currently outside the ability of the bargaining unit. Paragraph 2. The company may contract out and utilize outside entities to perform breaker maintenance without restriction, and such work contracted out shall not be subject to any form of commitment review as defined in Article 2, Section F, Appendix B5 of the Basic Labor Agreement. Each of the undersigned declares that they have read and understand this agreement and has signed with full knowledge of the nature and consequences thereof.
At this time, regarding this MOA regarding breaker maintenance, I will not say whether or not we are capable of performing this type of maintenance repair work. However, I will say we have not actively performed this type of work for over 5 years. I am not comfortable with giving up bargaining unit work unless there is a positive benefit for the membership, which I do not see at this time. Instead, I would prefer to negotiate a path forward where we perform this type of work again.
This next MOA is regarding Article 2, Section F, Appendix B5 and Appendix B8 commitment. The union agrees to suspend all commitment reviews and obligations as described in Article 2, Section F, Appendix B5, and Appendix B8 until December 31st, 2028. The company shall continue to provide the union contractor hours reports upon request. Upon termination of this MOA, commitment analysis as described in Article 2, Section F, and Appendix B5 shall be in full force and effect. Each of the undersigned declares that they have read and understand this agreement and has signed with the full knowledge of the nature and the consequences thereof.
There has been some changes. The new version has some changes, such as ML being terminated in 2026 instead of 2028. B8 has been taken out, which is regarding the 56-hour guarantee for maintenance when contractors are performing bargaining unit work. And the words all commitment reviews and obligation has been changed to all commitment analysis. However, the commitment analysis language they are citing is far too vague. And I do not feel the intent we've been told is being conveyed in this MOA. To cite all Article 2, Section F, and Appendix B5 is unacceptable because there is way too much language not pertaining to the alleged intent of this MOA, and that the language is imperative to hold the company accountable to our BLA.
So this next MOA is regarding 10 maintenance technicians and full scope postings. This memorandum of agreement is between U.S. Steel Gary Works and the United Steelworkers Local 1066. Jointly, the parties The parties have discussed the permanent incumbency of the Gary 10 maintenance employees in a joint effort to provide these employees greater security and address the company's current and future maintenance staffing needs. The parties agree to the following. Paragraph 1. The company shall post full scope maintenance technician postings for the following LLP boxes. A. Sheet mill mechanical. B. Sheet mill electrical. C. Hot rolling mechanical. D. Hot rolling electrical. Paragraph 2. Postings shall be awarded based on vacancies determined by the company, accounting for current and future staffing needs. In addition, these awards shall be based on the seniority factors as defined in Article 5, Section E of the Basic Labor Agreement. Paragraph 3. The company agrees to reserve 2 awards for each of the sheet product seniority unit postings to incumbent hot rolling seniority unit 20 and operations services west seniority unit 23 full scope maintenance employees. The remaining vacancies shall be awarded to incumbent Gary 10 full scope maintenance employees. Paragraph 4. The company agrees to reserve 4 awards for each of the hot rolling seniority unit postings to incumbent sheet products seniority unit 21 and operations services west seniority unit 23 full scope maintenance employees. The remaining vacancies shall be awarded to incumbent Gary 10 full scope maintenance employees. Paragraph 5. Incumbent Gary 10 maintenance and operating technician 2 hybrid employees who are not awarded any of these above postings shall become permanently incumbent to a maintenance LLP box as determined by the company. Each of the undersigned declares that they have read and understand this agreement and has signed with the full knowledge of the nature and consequences thereof.
Again, we have had some changes. Those are lines 3 and 4, and they have been taken out. That's the lines where it refers to reserving a small ratio of postings for members outside of TIN and awarding the rest to TIN members regardless of seniority. We pushed for this to come out because seniority rights should not be revoked by an MOA. The only other change was crane repair was added as a potential posting. The first issue we have is the MOA doesn't specify the number of postings that will be posted. Secondly, we are not okay with the company assigning our members to LLPs that they do not choose, and forcing members who choose not to sign a posting and or do not receive a posting into an LLP of the company's choosing.
So this MOA is in regards to the contracting out of labor work. This memorandum of agreement is between U.S. Steel Gary Works and the United Steelworkers Local 1066. Jointly, the parties contracting of general labor work. The parties have met and discussed the utilization of outside entities to perform labor work throughout the Gary Sheet and Tin plant. The parties mutually agree the company may utilize outside entities to perform labor work without restriction. Additionally, the parties have agreed as follows with respect to labor work performed within the Gary Sheet and Tin plant. Paragraph 1. The company will post 10 vacancies for utility personnel LP box OW011 in the Operation Services West Seniority Unit 23. Paragraph 2. The company will provide a method to canvass active unit employees interested to work labor opportunities throughout the Gary Sheet and Tin plant. Eligible production employees will be afforded the right to sign a canvass of interest that will be posted in advance of upcoming labor work. Paragraph 3. Employees opting for labor work opportunity must sign the canvass of interest on a designated canvass sign-up sheet in advance of the anticipated need. In the event the company develops a computerized method for employees to sign the canvass of interest, the designated paper canvass of interest will cease to exist. Paragraph 4. Management will schedule, based on need, the employees who sign the canvass of interest on various labor jobs throughout the Gary Works complex. Paragraph 5. Employees who sign the canvass of interest will be scheduled in a manner not to interfere with their primary scheduled job functions. Paragraph 6. The parties mutually agree the company may utilize outside entities to perform labor work without restriction. The training or assignment of bargaining unit employees to perform such work shall in no way affect the company's right to use outside entities to perform labor work, and any such work contracted out shall not be subject to any form of commitment review or be subject to the provisions of Appendix B5 or Article 2, Section F of the Basic Labor Agreement. Paragraph 7. This agreement shall not apply to any new construction work as defined under Article 2, Section F, 2A. Paragraph 8. Employees who sign the canvass of interest and who are scheduled to work labor and do not present for work shall have to justify their absence. Paragraph 9. Hours worked on overtime as a result of this agreement shall not be charged to the employee's incumbent OEG. Paragraph 10. Nothing in this agreement shall restrict the company's right to assign or require any employee to work overtime at its discretion. Paragraph 11. This agreement shall remain in effect until December 3rd, 2025. After such time, either party may cancel this agreement within 30 days written notice upon the other. Upon notice, the parties shall meet and discuss potential resolution to any problems. Each of the undersigned declares that they have read and understand this agreement and have signed with the full knowledge of the nature and consequences thereof.
Regarding this agreement, you'll notice they actually included a number of vacancies, which we agree with, and we'd like to see in the maintenance MOA. There have been no changes to this MOA, even though your grievance committee has brought up the following issues. Our issues with this MOA are in line 4. It states management schedule based on need. We can do a lot better with this language to ensure our members are performing this work. The labor work is stated in line 4 to be throughout the Gary Works complex. The Gary Works complex is the west side, east side, and Midwest plants. We believe this MOA should be about our plant, the Gary Sheet and Tin plant. It's concerning that our president would allow an MOA to be worded this way, knowing we have cases that will be arbitrated in the near future regarding our members being forced to work in other plants. In line 6, the MOA states that the company will have the right to contract out labor work without restriction. This is something that we deem as a direct violation of your rights. But to make matters worse, when you pair this with the language in line 4 that says management will schedule this work based on need, you create a recipe for the company to say they don't need us to perform our work.
Brothers and sisters, at the bottom of each of these agreements, it states that we understand the nature and consequences thereof. Language matters. One example of how this could bite us in the ass is we have a grievance in the pickle right now regarding contracting out production work where Article 2, Section F applies and is the basis of that grievance. If these MOAs are not specific to what is intended, there's potential grievances like this that could fail at arbitration. We deserve better.
It is now more important than ever, with the uncertainty of our local's future regarding the possible acquisition and the vast unknowns, to not be vague with contract language and MOAs that we agree to.
In closing, most of my grievers, as well as the MPC plant, feel very strong that any MOA that could have the potential to negatively affect the membership needs to be directly and clear with the intent and specific language to prevent any possible negative effects. Unlike some union officials, this group is thorough and diligent in protecting your rights.
Thanks for listening.
Hello, I'm Roger Glist, the current griever of Section 1, and I stand with our chairman against the current MOA agreements as they are written now.
As the candidate for griever of Section 2, I stand with our chairman in opposition of these agreements, as they are now.
As griever of Section 4, I stand with the grievance chairman in opposition of these agreements as they are now.
As griever of Section 5, I stand with our grievance chairman in opposition of these agreements, as they are now.
As the current NPC planner, one of the 2 union members on the contracting out committee, as well as the next griever of Section 6, I stand with our chairman in opposition of these agreements as they are now.
As griever of Section 7, I stand with our grievance chairman in opposition to these agreements as they are now.